One of the issues that received a big ovation was the gender pay gap. Here's the president.
It is time to do away with workplace policies that belong in a Mad Men episode. This year, let's all come together, Congress, the White House, businesses from Wall Street to Main Street, to give every woman the opportunity she deserves, because I believe when women succeed, America succeeds.
Cole Stangler, what exactly are these Mad Men policies the president was referring to?
You know, I think the most basic one that he's referring to, and he said this in his speech, is that for every dollar that a man makes in this country, 77 cents goes to women. So that's the most basic one. There's just a basic gap right there. The other thing, which the president kind of obliquely referenced, was the fact that we don't have maternity leave in this country. We don't have paid maternity leave. And the United States is the only industrialized country in the world that doesn't have mandatory paid maternity leave. In fact, there's only 4 countries in the world that don't have maternity that do not have paid maternity leave policies at all, and that's the United States, Swaziland, Lesotho, and Papua New Guinea. So we're in a pretty strange camp there when it comes to those policies. And so, you know, the president made a reference to it in his speech. He hasn't really strongly advocated for paid maternity leave before. So with a lot of things, this president, it's a lot of rhetoric, and we'll see, you know, if he actually makes a push for drastically addressing that gap.
Julie?
I'm shocked that we're still using this wage gap myth. I mean, on the left and the right, we've admitted that's a myth. That it's not comparing apples to apples here. We're looking at number of hours that women work are different from numbers of hours that men work. Both the left and the right have debunked that myth. So I'm shocked that we keep putting that out as truth.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think most of the research shows that the pay gap tends to come from different choices. And I actually personally, as a woman, as a mother, as a full-time employee, am really, really glad that I live in America where I can choose to make whatever I want to make of myself. I could go home and work tomorrow, or I could go home and take care of my son tomorrow, or I could return to work tomorrow. What we should be advocating for in America is not equal outcomes for women and men, where women and men are paid the exact same thing at all times, but equal opportunity, where every woman, every little girl can grow up and say, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to achieve, and she has the ability to do that.
Do you think we should have paid maternity leave in this country?
But we're talking about it as though like nobody gets any maternity leave whatsoever. That's not the case. We're talking about whether or not we're making it a mandatory requirement. That's a different issue here. There are also articles out there talking about countries that do have mandatory paid maternity leave, and that means that companies are less likely to hire women because they don't want to have to risk losing her to maternity leave for an unspecified or a long period of time, and then risk not having her come back. I mean, we want to, as what my colleague was saying, we want women to be able to have options, and you don't want to put employers in a situation where they don't want to hire women.
I'm sorry. I mean, you want to talk about options. I mean, if you're a mother, you know, trying to care for a child, and you're making, you know, most low-wage work in this country also, point out, are women. You know, you're making low-wage job, which is what most people in this country have to deal with. What kind of options do you have if you have to work 40 hours a week?
Actually, personally, because I had my son when I was 20 years old, and I was a low-wage employee who was also trying to go to college, and it is hard. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It is hard. It is not easy to be a low-wage female worker who's trying to take care of a son and take care of your household and make ends meet. It's not easy. But that doesn't mean that we need legislation to solve that problem. I don't want to seem as if I am unaware of the difficulty that people go through, right? But we want those women to have access to work. The most important thing that a woman can have when she needs to take care of a small child and she wants a job is access to a job. And the type of policies that make it less likely for companies to want to hire her is actually the most unfair thing that you could do.
So companies would be less likely to hire workers?
Yeah, research shows that when you have paid maternity leave and women are more likely to, I mean, there's a risk there, right? Every company knows if I hire this person, if she has a child, I mean, there's a reason, right, that women sometimes feel the need to take off their wedding rings when they go to interviews. It's sad, but it's true.
Well, as a small business owner, I can tell you that I've never made a single decision of hiring or anything like that based on any calculation other than, is this the best person for the job? So I think that that's a canard that a whole bunch of businesses are going to start not hiring women
because that in countries where there's workers,
you have to hire women. They make up half the workforce. I mean,
it reduces employment for women.
I mean, if you look, let's talk about Walmart, which is owned right now by, I think, I think they're 4 of the top 8 richest people in the world, and that's the Walton family, and they make their money, a lot of it is subsidized by the American taxpayer, because we pay for the assistance programs that people who have these minimum wage jobs at Walmart have to take in order to make ends meet. The mythical senior who chooses to go back to work, that choice, I put air quotes around that because I don't think it's a choice. It is a reality that millions of Americans do not have enough money to live on right now, and that the jobs that are available after Wall Street crashed the world economy in 2008, after decades of offshoring jobs and giving tax preferences to companies who ship our jobs overseas, we're faced with a situation where the jobs that are available for people are poverty wage jobs. These are not jobs that pay enough for people to live on. And I mean, when you have a document from Walmart, from McDonald's, from other corporations that pay minimum wage, that tells their employees how to access public assistance programs, that is the epitome of an upward redistribution of wealth. That is taking our tax dollars and putting it into the pockets of 4 of the richest people in the world.
Lori?
Okay, so I'll agree with you that I think there should be far less tax loopholes. I think we should have simple flat tax rates. I don't think we should have special carve-outs to favor certain industries, to favor certain companies. I mean, I think we can completely agree there, and I think it would be a totally...
Except that I agree in progressive taxation, not a flat tax rate.
Well, yeah, I'm actually not for flat taxes either, for the record. I think a progressive tax rate is completely fine. And I'm perfectly with you that we could take some of the money that we get from eliminating those loopholes and plow it back into other much more important programs. We could plow it into jobs training programs that will better prepare people for the new world of work that we find ourselves in. There are all sorts of things you could do it, but that to say that we're going to raise the minimum wage as a way to take care of that just still to me seems incredibly inefficient.
Well, it would literally be a tiny little itty-bitty step in the right direction. Raising
But it's the wrong step. If you really want to help people, you have to think about the best way to help them. It's not like, this is one way that can help. Well, that's great. But we, Congress, people in Washington owe it to the people that we care about to say, like, sure, I could give you $1 right now, but that's probably not the best way to help you. What is a better way to do that? And I think things like jobs training programs or federal wage subsidies is just a better way to go.
All right.